responded to anything.
If I would say from what they pay us, they're probably very happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Is all of this all set? I
yes.
just want to make sure we don't forget.
And when we redid the contract with them 2 years ago, we had changed some of the language that I didn't agree with. Because originally it had us billing the patient for refusals.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't think that was right, so we got rid of that. And other than that,
Jessica, our counterparts in Hardwick, they've seen this already?
Yep. Yeah, they had like one question, and that was because when we were going through the new Braintree contract, we deleted. There was some language that was from the old contract that was in there, so we deleted something, and I just didn't delete like the letter D or something. It was very, very minor details, but.
So would Dupuy be the gentleman, the attorney, who would be the attorney that would be Dupuy?
There. He has looked at this already, but we can have him. We can all.
Yeah, I just want him to make sure he and the chief are in agreement, and that we've, covered our responsibilities as making certain that this legally protects the town.
Yeah. So, if you guys, just let me know when you want me to call into the meeting.
I'm ready.
yeah.
I think it will look really impressive if we're there at 7:29. They'll say, this group is really cranking up.
We've got a reputation for brief, succinct meetings.
I guess, huh? Well, this is one at least. But I could tell by this agenda it wasn't going to be really, really lengthy.
Okay, so the microphone for them is going to be this computer.
Okay.
So.
Speak loudly, in other words.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you want that over there so I can take my notes?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Thank you. I depend on that.
Because that person, but now they did not correct it on the sheet.
Oh,
So there should be.
we already did that at one meeting. We already
That
did that.
should be equal.
Right.
Because that person's no longer here, that's an open position.
So, give them 2,000 out of 3.
So let me just question, so laborer number 2, right now it looks like a $6,000 increase.
This is the line we cut last year. Because he didn't fill a position.
Okay.
So it's back to the same level it was here.
Right.
We're just restoring it.
Which is, when I'm trying to say what the foreman and the labor one, that's the only thing they'll have increased.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a really stupid question then, because I guess I'm not following that. Because I'm looking at FY '21. Oh, so the 35,600 is not a complete year of salary?
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. But we didn't get that money until August.
Got it, okay. No,
I didn't fill the position when we're going budget,
Right,
so.
okay. So that was my disconnect.
Well, the rate was going, we may get the money back again, but I know it's getting tiring.
And the fiscal 22 is based on 2088 hours in a year, not 2080.
Okay.
I told you.
So we get an extra day next year, is that what that means?
The way
Calendar? Yeah.
the pay calendar works,
Yeah.
and I think even this current year, we had a couple extra days in the fiscal year.
Oh. Julie, can you just go back up a couple lines again? I'm sorry, I was just trying to do this again.
We had Barry join us, just give you a heads up.
Okay. Well, I mean, I had to be the bad guy and bring it up, and I'm not looking to,
Okay, I am,
we're sitting here looking.
but, I don't know.
It's something we can go back and reconsider it.
say that again, Marty? You were broken up a little bit.
I said, I've worked alone before.
We don't want you to work alone. We do know that you work and you work with these guys, so that's not up for debate. We all are very well aware of that. You know, it just, we have to have these tough conversations sometimes.
And I
Annual, and I complied in my budget.
All right, well, let's highlight those. I think you have them highlighted actually, Julie.
I just don't have it in front of me, so,
No,
I'll try to,
so really those are the only two numbers that are truly affected by this.
Yes.
Okay, so we can unhighlight lower. I think
Right.
that number is fine.
Right.
Yeah,
Are you talking $4,000
correct.
for a salary that's under 50,000?
4160. Yeah. I think we have to consider it once we get highlighted.
So I have to say it too, because, if we're gonna do that, we've got other people in here, I think, who are non-contracted, increases. So
That's my bigger concern.
we should be going back, and if we're doing that for highway, we should be looking at that for other departments as well.
And I guess that's my big sticking point, is that nobody's had raises in a long time.
So between now and, I'm presuming we're meeting on Wednesday, I'll try to go through and highlight the salary increases that are non-contracted.
Okay. And see where we would stand.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Okay.
Just so, in the spirit, the same conversation as last year, in the spirit of not picking, if we're gonna do it for one, we should do it for all.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
So I'll get that done for Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Thank you for jumping on, Marty. I think
not a problem.
Thank you.
I think it's important for everyone to hear that.
Yeah, no, I just trying to pass it along, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I got other stuff.
No worries.
Nope.
Thanks for being able to help. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Maureen.
All right. If you need me, just reach out. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah,
This is Jen.
I can.
Julie, could we go back up to the top a little bit?
Let's start down here.
And it would be the town report expense. And what I
But the
think
folks at home can
Ellen
hear.
Yeah,
is
but-
doing that.
So
Ellen's
no making fun of
supplying
Hardwick.
Oh, no.
The town report, isn't that true, Ellen?
It is.
And so,
I just thought that they
Yeah,
should
well,
be
it is.
waiting for them.
Yeah.
Ellen, what would the expense be for? Do you have to order anything special for the town report?
Oh, yes, there's special heavyweight 24-pound paper
I don't think they know we're waiting, do
and the
they?
binder.
All right.
Maybe not
But
everyone
just open to
in the
say
they.
$400.
Maybe someone knows.
Well, I think it used to be a lot more, and we've reduced that because we're doing it in-house.
That's right.
Okay.
We might be able to cut a little bit down for the Memorial Day expense. We are not gonna spend this money this year. I took care of the Memorial Day expense. So, that 900 is gonna stay back.
Okay.
Yep.
It was significantly reduced and I just took care of the bill personally, so.
Thank you, Julie. That's not necessary, but thank you.
I understand, but you know what?
Nobody's watching.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, but they're
keep the
watching
town
from
going,
home.
so,
Well, do we-
People watch this
do we-
tomorrow on
is that
YouTube.
your event
I will be to
here?
take my
I think
notes.
it's gonna be a conversation with Donnie, if he's gonna be willing to do it. The reason
Yeah,
it was
but you
so
get
low
paid
is
to
we
watch
didn't
it.
have till the end, the recruiters that came, so the fee was
Sometimes it's not
significantly
worth the
less,
pay.
so, maybe that's
I
a
watch it at
conversation
home.
with Donnie. Again,
I have
it's
to watch it
minor,
just
it's
because
not a
some,
huge
I miss
amount,
some
but-
words.
But
So, It's helpful. Go back and watch it. For me, anyways.
I watched it. It was like channel 194 or something.
Yeah, I go right onto YouTube. and watch
I
it.
watch it on Charter.
Oh,
Channel 194 live.
Nothing else to watch.
I do YouTube sometimes on 1.25. So it's a little faster. And I wear my headphones and I do dishes. Because I can't sit and watch a meeting at home.
I can't speed it up. I'm typing. I'm not that good.
I won't say I watch it. It's on in the background. I listen for keywords and tune in every once in a while. But it is nice.
It actually is. It is a nice feature, I have to say.
And I think a lot more people than you would think, I think, watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The motion would read.
Even with Zoom, like if we could still do it for winter, for snowstorms, we're gonna be at home having the meeting anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
This day and age, it's just easier for everybody.
I'm only here because I had the internet at home. I would have been home doing this in my pajamas,
Right. Correct.
makeup off.
No, if we need to.
I think it'd be
We're gonna
safe
be
to at
here.
least get it on the warrant. And if we have,
I
if
expect
we
that
table
from
it, we table it. Well, let's get it on
Well,
it.
who's the acting chairman?
Yeah, don't get comfortable. No, being ahead.
Do you want us to tune back in?
Oh, it is on. I don't know if she's muted though.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Talk about that tomorrow,
Did they forget us tonight?
No, Julie, I think even said,
Now,
the town of Barry's.
Can I
here,
ask
so
something
they
a
know.
little sideline of this as we're planning this? How are we doing with coming out of this year? I mean, I have here
Are we on their
another
video feed?
transfer, which I think we should go on tonight.
Or on mute.
Yeah.
Is that the one for the highway department?
Yes.
Yes.
So could I just make a motion that we agree to transfer
Maybe we have like some flag, like some
$11,500
symbols.
from account, give me a light. From account 001422511000001
Gee, that's
to,
questionable.
the same,
I don't think that was the right number of O's.
001 422
Not enough O's. It's O.
So you're moving from highway wages, the highway road
Highway labor to highway
road machinery. Lori D, are we good with moving from a wage line?
I believe at this time of year, we can move things.
Yep, you can do it.
Remember, we had a discussion and our warranty looked into it. We could move this if we just voted.
Warranty has already signed the request.
Okay.
So it's like the internet.
Hi, this is Jessica from the town of Barre. We just want to know if, about how much longer, so we can decide to recess or not.
We should just be a couple more minutes, Jessica.
Okay, thank you.
We have patience.
No problem.
I couldn't get into
So I would make the
The board
motion that
can
we
recess
approve the
if you guys
transfer
want to
of Cheryl
recess to-
Esserman from
For what?
the highway labor account to the highway
To
road
do what?
machinery.
Well, so.
Pie Town isn't open yet, so.
That's my motion.
Yeah, I couldn't connect to gold, so I don't know.
This is voted on by both of us.
Well, I have
so
like,
maybe, we
like,
say yes.
I don't have Safari. I
It
have
needs to
like
be
a
seconded.
Google,
I'll second.
and I couldn't get on.
Joint meeting, this is a joint vote.
Correct.
I go on,
All those in favor?
I go on my
Aye.
hotspot on my phone.
Aye.
Any?
And it connected, but then it would
Are you
tell me
there?
it wasn't available, but I was still connected.
Leah?
So I tried for like 15 minutes, a good thing I did.
So
Because
this
I
is
wouldn't
my,
know, I would have lost it.
Have you had anything on that CMRPC
yeah,
guidelines?
Leah, Penny and Leah.
If we didn't have
No, I
executive
think
session
that's
tonight, we
they
would
are.
just waited and done it.
No, it's too bad.
Penny, are you voting
Because it
this?
was, you know.
Yes.
What do they say, Lauren?
Alright, how about Leah?
They said they got like $5 million worth of
Leah,
applications,
say
and we had
yes.
like $3 million of
We should have more opportunity with some of that money that's coming along to do some different things with, I hope.
Well, I think the ARPA funds, we might be able to.
Well, you don't
Do you
because
think we could ask for a report? I know they had that meeting down in South Barre, maybe that's what you're talking about. That was at the same time as the budget hearing. The CMRPC had that meeting on Nornay Park.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be nice to get an official update from what happened, because it would have been nice to have that in front of the whole town.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the top of his head or not.
If anything.
When can you spend the ARPA funds?
I've been asking him to unmute.
Jean and I are gonna meet tomorrow on getting the ARPA funds, and then once we get them, we can spend them.
So you're just driving to Boston and getting some big sacks of cash? Is that what you mean by you're getting the ARPA funds?
Kind of not quite like that, but
So I need Jean, I need 2 cars.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will make this, Cheryl, what's the best way to get it to you now?
If you just sign it and stick it in the finance committee box, I'll stop by.
Is there a
and
big
sign
window?
it.
Like, do you need to be like cranking with applications and stuff
Okay?
early?
I would say that the most important thing for us to do is to ensure that there's a plan. That we just don't have everybody running in here saying, I want an X, I want a Y. We just go, oh, okay. Because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for us, and we really should, have a sound business plan before we begin to unroll the cash.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
I think this is a productive conversation.
Well, it is.
Yeah, no, I reached out to the department heads a couple weeks ago and asked them to kind of give me their wish list, so at least I know what the needs are, and then we can work from there on how we want to divvy up the funds.
Needs and wants, we have to really make sure we have it very, very specific, because, I want, when you look at what are the areas in the community that really need to, have our time and attention and this money, and how should we spend it? Probably not all at once, we should really be careful about how we spend it, and, not because we will be open to some criticism, which of course will happen, but,
Okay, is that
so that we-
is that the joint meeting?
The 14th, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yep. And Julie, I'm going to ask you to host it one more time, and hopefully then we'll be back in person when the building opens the next day.
I'm also scheduled to
We don't
do
need to sign anything more
Teams
than just a
training,
welcome.
so even if
No
we do
formalities
virtual
for them being in our
components,
meeting.
we will
Because our
hopefully
meeting's
be
already
able to do
open,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
I will post, I think our meeting's already posted, so I'll just add it to the agenda that it's a joint meeting with the finance committee. Maybe the time has to change.
I'll make the edit right now.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Julie. I think as far as budget goes, we're good there. The town of Barre has jumped on so that we can discuss the emergency medical service agreement. That is in front of us. Thank you for patiently waiting.
Thank you for inviting us.
Rob and Julie, do you have everything in front of you? Actually, is there any way, I don't know if you want to put it up on the screen?
And just bear with me.
Yeah, take your time.
Do you want the draft MOU, Kelly?
Yes, that was sent over. I think when we first reviewed it, we had just a couple of questions, just because the street listing and the map wasn't with it. So we now have that in front of us. And I do think there was one other question, really, if you can help me find it. There was a note about additional billings or from the
I think,
first.
yeah, I think this was in the original one.
Okay, this is, okay, it got taken or. I think you're right. Okay, I think I'm thinking of the first version.
Yeah, it made mention of additional charges or something, we weren't clear on what that was.
Correct, and I think, and Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that you had used a similar from, New Braintree?
Correct.
Okay, and then then you adjusted it because it didn't apply.
Right, yeah, there were a couple of things that didn't, like as you mentioned, the attachment had been missing, and then there was one that referenced a different part of the contract that didn't exist anymore.
Correct, okay, that's
Yep.
what I'm thinking of. I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure it was clear on that. Does anybody have any other questions, Julie or Rob, regarding this that you want to ask? Barry? Julie, you've kind of been, kind of spearheading all of this, so I don't know if you have any additional questions or concerns.
Well, I guess maybe a status update for Barry, since we haven't been together as a group formally since, we're still discussing with Ware, their role. We have another meeting scheduled for Wednesday at 3 to sort of update and see where we're at with them. But I don't think, other than that, I don't think anything has changed from the last time we spoke. I don't think there's anything new. I guess I would just ask that we have the chief and lieutenant look at the map and look at the roads and make sure that they're clear and comfortable with. I think they'd originally come up with a list, but I'd want them to look at the roads and the map to make sure that it makes sense to them as well. So I'm,
No, I think
with permission, I can share those two
we
items
can
with them.
clarify, but I think that's.
Oh, certainly, I'm happy to do it as well, if you want, that's fine.
Could we just clarify which chief we're talking about and lieutenant we're talking about?
From Hardwick.
Okay.
My
Okay.
apologies.
Thank you.
Isn't there only one chief and one lieutenant?
Something like that.
Just so that they're comfortable with it, I think the division of the town, what Barry's gonna be covering versus what, where potentially will cover.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Jessica.
Oh, no problem.
And so, we don't have a formal contract yet with Ware, which we're hoping to get to soon. So presumably, well, I guess the question maybe would be, if we approve this agreement, and a July 1 start date is where we're at, is Barry prepared? Are you in a position that July 1 is good at this point, since we're already at June 7th, and it's not conceivable that we probably wouldn't sign this till next week?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
The only thing that I certainly, before I would vote to finalize this document, is that both communities have their attorneys meet and make certain that the language that is in here protects both parties, and that there is no little nuance that we missed.
So Kelly, can we send this out to town council for their review?
Sure.
It's probably fine, but And will there be an addendum that specifies the specific routes and so forth? Will the chief in Barre and chief in,
That was provided to us by you folks.
Yeah, that's in
Okay,
Appendix
so-
A.
so
Yep.
we're good with that already, okay?
Yep.
It should be part of the document though, just,
Yeah, I didn't.
okay.
Okay, I mean, so as long as, we're ready to go July 1st, I will have town council review this and, see that there's nothing that jumps out. And then we should be prepared to make a vote on this next week then.
Okay.
Do you feel it necessary that we have to meet again jointly, or can we each do, vote at our?
Unless there's some substantial issue raised by your town council, I personally, and that's only my vote, that I would not expect us to need to meet again. That would be up to the attorneys as they review this. If this looks copacetic to both attorneys, I think we're probably good.
Sounds good.
So Kelly, I think this is where you were talking about in this letter C, initially when you asked about the additional. So the town of Hardwick shall pay to the town of Barre $25,000 from the execution with the remainder of Hardwick portion of ambulance cost incurred in fiscal year 20 submitted by the town of Barre by January 1. So what are we anticipating? Is this the part you were talking about?
Where is
It
that?
is, yes.
It's on page 2,
So what are
in the middle.
I guess, what are
C.
we expecting? I guess I was sort of under the assumption that it was a flat fee. Is there an incremental cost that is being contemplated here?
That's a letter C, a number 2 on page 2, correct?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you, Julie, for picking up on that. Thanks.
I thought, and I may be misremembering, which is entirely possible. I thought that we were anticipating a flat fee, a flat $25,000 contract fee for this.
If we have to, this has to go to vote for town meeting.
Yeah, I don't know what that, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Perhaps we're just misreading it.
Well, this was,
No, I think that there was a clause in the old Braintree contract
okay, maybe.
that whenever,
Yeah, we're not,
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but we're not requesting any more than the 25,000. We might just have to change the wording here a little bit. I'll run that by our town council to see how we want to word that, but again, this was all just taken from the new Braintree contract, so we might just have to fix up that wording a little bit, but,
Yeah, I mean, potentially if we could just omit after the comma, after agreement.
yeah.
Right, okay.
yeah, I know, we can talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
well, again, I would like to make sure that both communities
Right,
have,
with the remainder correct.
both.
Yeah, I would say if we can strike that, then yeah.
I'm not saying we're agreeable to striking it until our attorney reviews it and your attorney reviews it. I just want to make sure, whatever the agreement is, we are very clear as to what charges will be assessed or not. And,
Right, that's why,
yeah.
that's why we had discussed the flat payment of the 25,000.
yeah. Because this,
Wasn't that even roll over to D? That section, I mean, we're paying a flat fee, right? We're not getting that back.
Well,
I would agree.
well, what happens essentially sometimes, like, in the not library, council on aging, it's sometimes like not all of that money is expended. I don't think that is a situation that we would run into with the ambulance agreement, because ambulance costs are usually more than what is budgeted anyways, so, it's very unlikely that we will not expend any of the funds paid by Hardwick. But this is kind of one of those safeguards like we have with the Council on Aging, and where if some funds, or the building inspector, that's another one, where if some funds are not expended by the end of the year, it either comes back as a return, or it gets, you get a lower assessment the next year.
That just seems very unlikely to me.
It's very, very,
Yeah.
it's,
We
well,
could probably just strike
yeah.
that clause.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
I guess that's why we were under the impression we were just being assessed a flat fee. That the chief, your chief, that is, felt comfortable with.
Mhm.
Well, I can certainly send it over to our town council, and we want to look into it on your end, and then hopefully by the end of the week, we can have an answer on that.
Yep.
So
Okay,
that we can make a decision for you folks next week.
Definitely.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions for Barry, or I think at this point, we just have to see what town council say?
I'm good with that.
Rob, are you good?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you to Barry for being patient while we listen to our budget troubles.
Oh, we get it.
so we get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
But can you work with Jim Baird?
Yeah, I can tell you what that's about.
Okay.
So in the original New Braintree contract, the previous one before the last one we signed, the New Braintree Selectmen had agreed that the town of New Braintree would pay the balance of any unpaid ambulance receipts. So that's what that was about. We removed that from when we redid the contract.
Okay.
'Cause
I mean, because this seems like a hell of a good deal for Hardwick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if their numbers are accurate, yes, it'll be but if their numbers are wrong, it won't be a great deal for Hardwick if
Yeah.
their run numbers are wrong.
So what happens is, we have $25,000. We don't seek a third-party payment, they do?
No. So they pay us
Yeah.
$25,000. It goes into our ambulance receipt account.
Gotcha.
We put that into our ambulance budget. And then any ambulance call we go on, we bill the patients. If we transport,
Yes, right. If
we
you
bill
don't,
the
we won't.
insurance.
Right.
Whatever we get, and
Yeah.
what we don't get, we don't get.
I know, yeah.
And if it's a lift assist, a good intent call, a car accident where the people are injured,
Yeah.
we don't require transport, then
Yeah,
we, essentially that's what that $25,000 is covering.
okay.
So in the original contract, prior to me being chief, New Braintree paid Barry $10,000 a year, and then, if I gave you a $1,000 ambulance bill and you only paid $100,
Yeah.
the town of New Braintree would pay Barry the remaining $900 balance.
Gee, that sounds like a better deal to me.
Yeah, and that, they didn't pay any of it, ever, so,
Oh,
we just struck that from the last contract, because
I've worked with the Good Hands people before.
I think once, if people in town realize, why pay the bill, the town's gonna pay it.
Yeah.
Nobody's in.
Oh, I see what you mean, there was no incentive for the
Right, 'cause
local
if
citizen.
If I sent you a $1,000 bill
And I
and you said,
knew that-
I'm not gonna pay
Oh,
it, Barry's
okay.
gonna pay it,
I gotcha,
it
okay.
didn't seem like that was a good deal for New Braintree.
I'm just, I want to be a little cautious, that $25,000 seems like such a good deal, but like you say, you do have the opportunity to, see if you can ferret out from the person or from their insurance.
And I can estimate what we'll make in billing receipts, but until we do
I
it
know,
a year,
I know,
I
yeah.
mean, we may make out well,
Well, I just would hate to have us, have them, put our situation in a bad state where we say 25,000, but we should have been 35,000. And I don't know.
And we won't, until we do a year of this, we're just going off guesstimation right now.
And this is any funds paid by the town of Hardwick to the town of Barre, not expended,
I would just strike that,
well,
because we're going to
I'm sure
expend.
I'm sure they're thrilled with that, but I would strike it too.
Yeah, because we're going to expend all of our.
Yeah.
all of
Right.
that.
Well, even if we don't, we're sticking our necks out. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, that's worth something. They're getting a great service for very little money, and they're taking no risk.
Right, we
We're
assume the
taking
risk.
all the risk. And they don't like that, they can go see if Ware can help them out. I know we'll end up having to help them out, but
Right.
I just feel that,
Because at the end of the day, we're gonna go whether we
Yeah.
get 25,000 or we don't.
and I,
get 25,000.
yeah, exactly, but I just feel that, I don't want Hardwick to just say, this is a relative over us, you know, because I mean, gee, it's our risk. And I had one other issue that I had that I put in here. The town of Barre shall provide for financial safeguards regarding the terms of the agreement on behalf of the town of Hardwick, including accurate and comprehensive records and ambulance performances scripts occurred. So, and then it says each party shall ensure that it has appropriate insurance coverage for its duties and obligations. And how will we know, what will we ask them to prove from their insurance perspective? Will we say, we want to see your insurance, you know, that you actually do have liability insurance?
I don't, under the mutual aid agreement, under the mutual aid law,
Okay,
I don't think that pertains to this at all.
okay. Well, that's a question maybe you can ask Jim
So
Barry.
basically, when we, like if there's a fire in Hardwick,
Right.
and we go to Hardwick,
Right,
the town of Barre is responsible
gotcha.
for,
And if Hardwick came to us.
injured firefighters,
Right.
broken equipment, and if Hardwick comes to Barre and their
Same
fire
thing.
truck breaks,
Right,
it's all under Hardwick.
okay.
Same if one of their firefighters gets injured. So I
Okay.
think with the mutual aid agreements, and again, this contract was written prior to the fire department, so there was, at the time, when the ambulance was separate, there's no
Gotcha.
laws pertaining to mutual aid ambulances.
Now there is.
Because they were private, it kind of fell on their insurance.
Okay.
So I think that's just some old language from the previous contract.
Well, I just want to make sure whenever we finally roll out the contract, that we really feel confident that the language that's in there is the language that should be in there, and that we protect, you know, obviously your department with this. And one thing, I had another thing too, when we talk about extending this, I would recommend when it says this is on part one, letter C, the agreement shall be for 1 year, blah, 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 and we need a town meeting vote. This agreement can be renewed at the end of this term upon consideration of the two boards for an additional time frame, not to exceed 3 years. Because you might want to say, let's do just another 1 year rather than jump right into a 3-year with them. Because I don't think it's like they can shop around. I think we're more in, you know, in sort of control of this, and we need to make sure that just because we did 1 year, do we really want to jump for 3? Maybe we do.
Well, plus I think probably by April of next year,
We'll know.
we'll have a better handle on,
Yeah.
are we charging too little?
Yeah.
Are we
It's-
right where we need to be?
So I'd just like to say that we can't exceed a 3-year term. We may only want to do another year to see how things
Yeah.
go, rather than go right to a 3-year. That would just be my recommendations, and certainly I don't say this with any idea that I have legal acumen on this. Just that I just want to protect the town of Barre and your department. Like you say, a lot of this you'll get stuck with the mutual aid anyway, but just to give us the most wiggle room we can get out of the agreement.
I agree.
Good idea.
So I guess we just wait and see, and you talk with with Baird and the chief.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna agree with it, because they don't really have any.
Well, I mean,
Their options are very
Yeah,
limited,
yeah.
so.
Now, is this something that will be approved, not town meeting for us, this board will just approve this contract?
Mhm.
Okay, now, does the chair have, is there a conflict? I know he said he can't vote on any fire stuff or anything, so is this primarily just you and me?
I mean, I think because it's ambulance.
I think he can because it has zero
With the
financial
fire
impact.
department,
yeah.
He chooses to abstain from a lot of the voting of the fire
Yeah,
department.
that's what he tells us, yeah. I
But
just-
I believe, based
Okay.
on what I understand, he could
Okay.
vote on this if
Okay,
he
good.
chose to.
Okay.
I believe the only thing he can't vote on is anything to do with any kind of financial benefit to him.
Oh,
And
personal,
this-
okay.
and this has no
And this has
benefit.
nothing to do
Or
with that,
his
okay.
family, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this
so-
has no,
Yeah, his kids are.
there's no personal gain for any of the
Yeah.
firefighters with this.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not even sure they're happy about it, so. It's just more work.
Yeah, sure.
But people need an ambulance, there's really nobody else to call, so.
Right.
Well, I think the important thing is to try to take the individuals who work in the now combined, public safety department, fire and ambulance, that we take a careful and serious look at the contract between the fire department personnel and the town, and that we need to understand that there's more work and more responsibility for yourself and others, and we need to address that issue by addressing contract issues.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm absolutely committed to the idea that when people work really hard and step out and do things that are going to benefit the town and so forth, that we have to be very cautious about, okay, how do we take care of those individuals who perform these functions for the town?
And then the only question I had is that if this goes through, my salaries budget should go up $25,000. So does that need to
Yeah.
happen at town meeting, or do we need to wait till a special town meeting? Because I'm assuming that we're not going to get these funds
By foot.
Right, I would say
by July 1st.
special town meeting.
Yeah.
We can include that in special town
Yeah,
meeting.
which I know can happen in the fall.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Though I'm sure there's going to be a cleanup anyway.
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just really concerned that we really understand that taking on more work and responsibility for our employees puts us in a situation where we have to recognize that and act accordingly.
I think, like I said, I would think we strike that.
Well, if you can take
Section 2
and have a conversation with Jim Baird, just so that when we do execute this agreement, we have done due diligence from a legal perspective.
My Zoom was like, you're all done. Meeting.
Oh, you timed
I don't
out.
know what happened there.
Huh.
It shouldn't have timed out. We have
No.
unlimited, so we've done longer than 8 and 10 before.
For sure.
So,
Well, I think we don't have to take any action, right?
Yeah, we're not taking any action, so
yeah. the
Do you
meeting's
want us to
gone.
take an action or a vote to have the attorney review this with the chief?
If you guys want to, I mean, we'll definitely do it.
Yeah, okay.
I would entertain that motion. if you
Okay.
want to make
I would
one.
move that, as discussed, that the town council and Chief Rogowski have the opportunity to carefully review the memorandum of agreement between potentially the town of Hardwick and the town of Barre for ambulance services, and ensure that the memorandum of agreement is acceptable and appropriate.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote.
So
All
moved.
those in favor?
Marshall, aye. We're in open session, I guess I don't have to tell them it's me.
Yeah. And that being said, all that's left on my agenda is adjournment. Dr. Marshall.
I move we adjourn,
Second.
non-debatable. and
Second that
move
motion.
along.
Any other debate? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have to meet before the 18th.
Yes, definitely.
We-
I'll set it up for probably this Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. He needs the couple days.
Yeah, and then we can even do it Zoom too, if that's.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
I know he doesn't live close to here, right?
He's still kind of living in Ware,